This is an update from NSCL Director and University Distinguished Professor Konrad Gelbke.
I've been director of the NSCL since 1992, and since that time the laboratory has undergone some significant changes, both in terms of its mission and also in terms of its scope. So we've grown in importance and also we've grown in our capability to mount major advanced projects. It was a great time. In the past, the laboratory was focusing primarily on studying the properties of hot and dense nuclear matter. How can you compress it? Since that time, we've made a major shift in emphasis. We've strengthened the program I just mentioned, the research with rare isotope. We've upgraded our capabilities by about a factor of 1,000 to 10,000 in the production rates of those isotopes. And that put us immediately into the, let's say, 4 or 5 world-leading laboratories who pursue this kind of research. And certainly we are now a world leader in terms of what we're doing and also in terms of our capability, but that will soon be eclipsed by the international competition where investments of the order of $500 million were made to increase their capabilities significantly beyond what we have. We have plans how to do that, but that's sort of something which will happen in the future. So we recently completed a major reconfiguration of the laboratory. That was probably one of the biggest reconfiguration projects since the construction of the coupled cyclotron facility. The major motivation for this 4-month shutdown, which cost us about $3 million to complete, was to reorganize the experimental areas to make space for what we want to do in the future. We found that a number of instruments we had been using a decade ago are not up to speed anymore. They are really not giving us the bang for the buck, if you want to say that. Those were retired, and we used that space to mount other instruments which we had constructed on crowded space to give them the space they need so that experimenters can run experiments, set up new experiments, all without being in each other's way. And that provides for more efficient utilization of the facility, more science throughput, higher productivity, and also for new capabilities in terms of what we want to do in the next decade. So apart from having an immediate benefit on the experimental program, we're also looking at where we want to be, let's say, in 5 or 6 years, when the international competition in terms of sheer power in their so-called driver accelerator will start putting us under pressure. So we've come to the conclusion that we could begin world unique by building a reaccelerator, which is a whole chain of things which I should probably go into some detail. We produce the isotopes by accelerating stable nuclei up to about half the speed of light, and then we shatter them in what is called a production target and have a whole spray of nuclear debris, and out of those nuclear debris we filter out with a device which is called a fragment separator those isotopes which are of interest. Sometimes they are only 1/millionth or 100 millionth of the products which are of scientific interest for us. So these are filtered out, but they still move with about half the speed of light, which is very fast. They would travel around the Earth, for example, in 1 second more than twice. So these isotopes at high speeds can be used for a number of experiments, and those experiments are very well under control, and they've been the hallmark of our experimental program. But there are experimental investigations which require these isotopes to be essentially at rest, and so-called ion traps or atom traps, and that we have conquered that problem actually as one of the first laboratories to stop beams from half the speed of light and trap them for precision experiments. So we're again a world leader in that field. And then there is another class of experiments where you would like to accelerate those ions to modest speeds. Modest means roughly 1% of the speed of light, much lower than what we have right now. And those experiments are requiring precision beams, and we've developed a cost-effective approach to stop these ions and re-accelerate them, and that is a project which is undergoing. It will take about 3 years to complete. It's a significant new investment into our facility. And if we succeed, and there's technical risk, I should say that. Everything which you do, which is new, you never know exactly whether things will work as you had anticipated. But I'm confident we will succeed. And then we will again be a world first, and we'll have world unique capabilities, which will put us on the map as a world leader for the next well, let's say starting from 5 years from now for another 5 years. And that's a good thing to do because we need to bridge this time, and hopefully by that time we are up and running or pretty much on the way to build a more powerful facility like the one described as the isotope science facility in our Blue Book, which is on our website. MSU has been very great for the laboratory. It is a sign of a university which is really committed to excellence, sort of a can-do university. When you have a great idea, you just talk to the president or the provost and they have an open ear. They're supportive, and a lot of things which we have done, which looked at very high risk initially, were supported by Michigan State University and panned out very nicely. And I don't think the laboratory would be what it is without that strong support and commitment by the university. So it's a very unique situation. Unfortunately, we are also one of the few. Most large user facilities are at national laboratories behind fences, which are not so easily accessible. They're more formally managed, whereas we have a situation where we are essentially embedded in an open campus environment. We have at any day about 100 students working in the laboratory, 50 of them undergraduates who work on all aspects of the laboratory, from business to design to fabrication to construction to accounting. And we have about 50 graduate students who work towards their thesis, who are supported by the lab. Their graduate career is paid for by the laboratory. And they work on things like accelerator physics, experimental nuclear science, theoretical nuclear science, or nuclear astrophysics. So we have a very broad swath of problems which we can attack with our machine, and we are also using that capability to train the next generation of scientists. We're a highly ranked graduate program nationally, and perhaps equally importantly, we're training more than 10% of the nuclear science PhDs in the country at MSU. I believe the laboratory is working right now in a near ideal environment. The National Science Foundation has been very good to us. Obviously, they're not good to us because of our blue eyes, but they are good to us because we're sharp and we are excellent and we're producing quality science, which is passing the best standards of peer review and international scrutiny. They have been very supportive of us. I always say it's a unique university federal agency partnership, which you probably don't find so many in this country, which has helped shape the laboratory to what it is. The National Science Foundation has again committed to fund us for the next 5 years for a total of about $100 million, which is a modest increase as compared to what we had in the last 5 years. And that will allow us to do new things and also serve our national and international user community who comes here to do their research in a better way. So, in short, we're having two unique situations: a very supportive agency who is actually quite proud of what we're doing, I believe, and a university who also recognizes quality, and they found a way to form a partnership which is mutually supportive. I'm very excited at this stage, of course, to go forward with this Accelerator project. And I'm very excited that the Department of Energy is planning to build the next generation rare isotope facility. I'm very confident that we will be in a superb position to compete for siting this on the Michigan State University campus, barring politics. We certainly have the best group in the United States or in North America to work through these problems. We're the most experienced laboratory. And this is the science we have been shaping over the last 20 years and which we intend to shape over the next 20 years.
NSCL is a world-leading laboratory for rare isotope research and nuclear science education. Operation of NSCL as a national user facility is supported by the Experimental Nuclear Physics Program of the National Science Foundation.